Hi, welcome to this Excel tutorial video, and today I'm giving a video showing an introduction to formulas. So Excel allows you to write mathematical formulas, calculations, and Excel will read those formulas and provide the result of the calculation. So let me give you an example. Usually when you're writing something in Excel, you just find a cell and you will write something. And when you put that text in there, that text is represented in this area at the top called the formula bar. So whatever you see in here, generally you see in here. Now, with a formula, what you're going to do is you're going to write something that will appear in this formula bar here, but the result in the cell here will be different. It'll be the result of the formula. So let me just show you how that works. If I start in here, if I start in this cell, or even here, this point here, if I write equals, what Excel now expects is, or what it's now thinking is, all right, you've put equals, now I expect some sort of formula. So I can do 1 plus 1. Nice and simple. I press enter. If I just click back on that cell, you'll see that in the formula bar, it says equals 1 plus 1, but in the cell itself, it shows 2. So the cell is showing the result of that formula. And I can do any formula I like. As long as it begins with equals, Excel will be happy. So I can do 9 minus 5. The result being 4. I can do more complicated formulas. So I can say equals 3 times 4 minus 2. And Excel will calculate that formula in the formula bar and provide the output here. So as long as it's an acceptable and a recognized formula, Excel is very happy. Now what you can also do is you can use this equals sign and reference another cell. So instead of saying it's a formula, now I want to say, actually, it's just the value of that cell. So what you're doing is you're putting equals C2, which is what you can see here. If I press enter, if I click back on it, in the formula bar here, you can see it says equals C2, but actually the cell is showing 7 because C2 has a value of 7. And if I change that to 4, as soon as I change that, this value changes because it's simply saying, whatever's in C2, I'm going to replicate, and I want to show you that. So using that, you can write formulas and you can say equals C2 times 4. So if I press enter, 4 times 4 is 16. So C2 times 4 does equal 16. If I were to change that to be 6, 6 4s are 24. There's the result of my equals C2 times 4. Or you can say equals that value minus that value. So here C2 minus C1 does equal 2. And if I change that to be 8, it now equals 4. But if I change C1 to be 5, it now equals 3. And you can see that changing. And what's really, really cool is I've got C2 and C1 in my calculation. This could be a really, really big formula here. If I click in the formula bar, C1 is ever so slightly maybe burgundy colour and C2 is a blue colour. And you can see the cells while you're in this formula bar. The cells now change colour to show you which cells are referenced in your formula. So I'm just going to press escape. I want to do a slight change to this. So I'm going to put brackets around them and then do plus A1. So I mean, I can type these things, or I can simply say equals and hit a cell, and then plus and hit another cell. So I don't need to type it, I can just click on cells. But the point here now is, if I go back down to here, if I click in my formula bar, you can see now this is the burgundy. I've got this, but now I've got this purpley colour here that is representing A1. So what it's showing you is C2 minus C1 plus A1 is 8 minus 5 plus 5. So you can see how it is being built, and it makes it very obvious which cells are represented in formula. Now then, let me now write a couple of quick formulas here. So I'm going to do equals A1 plus A2. I'm going to do equals B1 plus B2. Now there are quicker ways of doing this. I want to do that in a different video. So I'm just going to type these C1 plus C2 equals A1 plus B1 plus C1 and equals A2 plus B2 plus C2 and finally equals D1 plus D2. So now we've got a set of totals here. And I'm just going to ever so slightly change the colours here to make them obvious. So if I just make that yellow. Now each of these values in these coloured cells are calculations. They are not values in their own right. They are based on values in other cells. So if I were to change the value in here to be 9, that value here changes, that value changes, and that value changes. If I go to here and change that to 1, all of the cells that are bothered about A1 will change. Okay, and that's good and it makes sense, and that's kind of what you want. So if you've got some sort of graph of values and figures and whatever else, you want a change to one cell to change totals and summaries and that sort of thing. So this is kind of what you want. But the point that I'm trying to make here is you don't have to reference cells in the same worksheet. So I'm going to create another worksheet here. And I want to put a total. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to make this cell yellow. And I'm going to make it the value of this yellow cell here. So before I was in this cell and I was saying equals and I was just clicking things, I can do the same thing. So if I go to C3 and I click in my formula bar and I type equals, I can now click away to the cell that I'm interested in, press enter, and that value will appear. And what it shows in the formula bar is it shows the cell name, exclamation mark, the cell reference. Sheet 1, exclamation mark, D3 in this case. If I go back to here and I make a change to this to be 3, that value has changed now to 31. And if we go to here, sure enough, that value has changed to 31. That's the end of this tutorial. I hope there was something in there that was interesting, new, something that you learned. Any comments or feedback, everything's appreciated. So please send anything you've got. Thanks a lot for your time and see you next time.